Now, would that be the reason why people go through therapies? They do very well, right? They're eating better, they exercise better, and then all of a sudden it stops, right? Or they go to therapy for a while, any kind of therapy that they do, and they drop out, and they were doing so well. What triggers that? What stops someone's developmental process to go further into healing? Because it seems to be a big thing in the healing community. You get to a certain level, and then everything just stops.
So, and that is the ultimate question. And I think it's so exciting because for the first time, for the truly first time, we begin to answer that. So let's take just a simple one. Joe, you know, you were doing so well. You were going to your AA meetings and your AA meetings, and your family's doing better. But your wife said that if you start drinking again, she's going to leave you. And now what happened? What happened? If you really sit down with those people and you can really get them to say one-on-one, they'll tell you every time it's the feeling happened. What's the feeling? The feeling is what we call the implicit or procedural memory. It's a memory, it's a feeling often as real as the first time you had it. And the only way you learned to compensate was to eat, to run, to drink alcohol. Now, the magical thing is, what if we had the tools in this day and age to release the implicit memories, right? To release that toxic stress that's there. And I'm telling you, for the first time, I really believe we have the tools to do that. And so, but that's what happened. And so let's go to another study, the ACE study, one of the largest public health studies ever done. One of the most surprising bits of information that's ever been shown. In fact, so surprising and so shocking, it's very hard for the rest of the community, the medical community, and the scientific community to assimilate it because it was so challenging. But one of the original researchers, Dr. Felitti, who had been working for Kaiser Permanente, which is the largest HMO in California, wanted to do a good thing. He's head of the preventive medicine section, so he wanted to help people reduce weight. Of course, we know obesity, overweight, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, I mean, you name it, it's going to increase. So, very noble, tried to do that. But he found also, very frustrated, that I had people losing 50 pounds, 60 pounds, and they drop out. It wasn't until long investigation that he finally found the answer, which was one of the greatest shocks of his life. That the people, again, would tell him, when I lost the weight, I felt a lot more vulnerable. I felt things and feelings and emotions that no one was there to help me deal with. And the only way I could deal with it was the weight was, to use his words, protective.
Or go back to the pattern. Or go back to
the pattern, and the weight became protective again. And so, so that's why there is no secret diet, there's no secret exercise. It's like there's this part of us that's going to stop us. You need one-on-one, you need somebody that's supportive, and you need somebody who's compassionate enough to understand the process, to be with a person, to get through that. The magical thing is that if a person can watch the process, because the emotions are going to be expressed as physical, just like exercise, physical feelings. Hot or cold, shaking, trembling, vibrating. It's very common. I do not know why the brain does that, to see colors, all kinds of colors. I'm not going to speculate what that is. It's just what it does. Enjoy the show. If a person learns to surrender to the process, the miracles happen. But you have to realize that the moment of the surrender, before the surrender, all the fear comes up and tries to tell you, stop what you're doing. You're going to lose it. You're going to die. Just the same reason you have to reach for the drink or the alcohol, because that feeling is so threatening. And it's deeply, remember, deeply unconscious.
So people don't, excuse me, doctor, but some people don't even realize that. They don't even realize they're going right back into stuff. So how, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. No, they don't realize it, and they go back, and that's why education is important. Our goal this year is to reach out to all kinds of practitioners and educate people to realize, there's people that know about that implicit, what I'm telling you about procedural, but just how toxic it is, and then how one can actually get over that. And then there's the other types of memory and emotions called declarative or explicit, which aren't as threatening, but when you have that, you also have body-based sensations along with the emotion. So rather than just talking about something, right, which has its value, talking and talk therapy is a wonderful therapy to a certain point. But now we've entered the next dynamic, and that is move the talk into where you feel it in your body for biomarkers, somatic markers, activating the autonomic, which is how you're going to get emotional fitness. So then you have to deal with the feeling, because it's not a thought that you're afraid of, it's the feelings. The feelings, the cramping, the tightness, the energy, the fear, the heaviness. Those are physical feelings, right? So when we didn't know they were the same system. We didn't know they were the same thing as delivering a baby or exercise. It's the same system, it's just doing a different task.
And some people say, I don't want to go back to revisit the memory. I don't want to go back and feel in this thing. I don't want to go back there. Do I really have to go out and go back and revisit all that stuff?
Right.
I worked on that stuff already.
That's human nature. So human nature, because the assumption is, oh, it's going to be too much, it's going to be too difficult, it's going to be too painful. I don't want to do this exercise because I don't like to sweat, you know. But that's where you have to have the right supportive person, you have to have the right trainer to say, listen, just do it for 3 months, you know, do it for 3 weeks and see what happens. But we all have that. It's not me, it's not you. We all have a part of us that doesn't want anything to do with growth and change. The philosophers have identified that as the egoic part, you know, the darker nature, etc. That will find every kind of excuse to give up. But it's very real. It does exist. Everybody out there knows what I'm talking about. God, I was doing so great. I looked so good. I felt so good. What the heck happened? You know? And I'm telling you what happened. And that's beautiful that finally we do know what happened and what you have to do. There is no way around it. There is no way around. You have to do the inner work. You have to do the inner work. And all great teachers have said, you know, it's the inner work. Even, like I said, we often get, just to quote, again, as a Christian aspect, true teachings, again, Jesus says, you know, when they asked them to say, where is this kingdom of heaven? Where is this God? And they sat there very surprised because they thought it was going to be something aloof outside them. Oh, heaven's up there and hell's down here. No, it's inside you. Where's this temple? Where's this temple of God? It's inside you. And so, and all of them, whether it's, like I said, whether it's the mindfulness perspective, the Buddhist perspective, it's not religious, it's like work your brain, work your mind, your thoughts really matter, they do shape your brain, develop skills that will last you the rest of your life, right? Stop putting investments in things outside the inside. And I can tell you personally from my own life, of course, and from dealing with thousands of others, there is no other greater investment that a person can do. And all great teachers will tell you that. Don't put your treasures up down here in the earth. Put them on side. Work on side. But life is very confusing. There's a tremendous amount of struggle. There's a tremendous stress just to survive, even financially. We all realize, hey, it's much more common to have a stressful relationship than not, because your choices are determined by your earlier adverse experience. Wow, okay? So if we change that, you have to change it physically. It's not just the talk. Yes, the talk is very helpful. And there's an absolute central point in Unify where we want a person to also use talking, but then we want biomarkers, biological markers, or somatic markers, which are what really create the physical, the emotional, and reshape a new brain. So we got a new brain, a higher brain, overriding the fear brain, the worry brain, the pain brain, which is the lower. Again, theory. Maybe one day we're going to find, well, maybe the limbic system wasn't what we thought, or the amygdala. And that happens a lot. We're always deciding, oh, maybe this, now they're seeing that maybe those functional MRIs weren't as accurate as we thought. You know, so, and that is also true, but we have to look at the greater context. We have to look at all the things together, put all the studies together, and we start to see it's time to kind of reevaluate how we think about human beingness and what is the goal. What is the goal of our lives? And so we need, you need somebody there, just like a trainer or a coach, because you're going to want to drop out, right? You're going to want to quit. That's human nature. So make the agreement, whoever it is, and say, listen, you know, stay on top of me, call me, guide me, lead you. Now, maybe that the therapist or trainer isn't the right person, but if you find the right person and you realize, you know what, it's just me, my defeatist, my negative part comes up, which will find every excuse in the world. Every excuse, and they're very creative excuses.
Yeah,
Believe me, I'm one of them. I've created a lot of interesting ones too, right? So, but I know that part of me enough, and so a lot of times it's just like, you know what, make the appointment and show up. Just make the appointment and show up. Just make it ahead of time, and that tends to make it easier.